Hi guys, this is Terry from Aussie Diamond Painters, and I just thought I'd do a paint with me. You might hear a fan in the background. It's very hot here. It's the middle of summer, and it is extraordinarily hot. I'm still going on with this all these questions to help you get to know me. I don't know when it's going to end, but I'll just put a couple of drills in, make sure you can see what I'm doing. I don't know whether you can. I'll just turn the camera up a bit, then you should be able to. Yep. Okay, how does music matter to you? Music to me is something that relaxes me. I enjoy listening to it. I enjoy singing, but nobody enjoys listening when I sing. I haven't got a singing voice at all. That's one thing I wish I did have. I sing in the car and I sing in the shower sometimes, but I'd love to have a singing voice. I'll just show you this. This is the picture I'm doing for a friend of mine. Lots and lots of 310, but I'm nearly halfway through, so hopefully I will finish it. Before I go away, I don't think I've ever done any painting with this many 310 in it. There's 29,800 for a 40 by 60. I think that is a lot of 310. Okay, what type of music do you dislike most? I would have to say some of the rap musicians, the ones you can't understand what they're singing about. I prefer country and jazz, things like that. If you had 1 year left to live, what would you do for you? It's a good question. I think I've got a little pussycat and I think he's playing with something under the table. Anyway, it's not my pussycat, it's somebody else's. But what would I do for me if I only had 1 year to live? I think I'd travel around Australia, see some of the places that I was going to see when I retired. There's some beautiful places around Australia that I haven't been to yet. And I think as I get to a point where I can't drive anymore or whatever, I'd then go on a cruise. A cruise probably to Hawaii and back. That'd take probably a month. So, and then tell family. I think I'd keep it to myself. um, until I couldn't anymore. There'd be nothing worse, I don't think, than people hovering over you. If you were well enough. If you weren't well, that's different. But if it was, something where you're well enough to look after yourself and you can still do things, that's what I'd do, I think. If you had a day left to live and you could spend it with anyone you choose, who would it be? My daughter Rebecca. Tell her things that I've never told her before. Make sure everything's organised, as in how she gets any inheritance and things like that. Make sure she understands that. And just talk to her about it. It's probably what I would do. If you inherited $100,000 right now, how would you spend it? $100,000 these days isn't much, but I'd pay off my bills first. And if it was enough for a deposit on a unit, instead of paying rent, I think I would do that. If you became a multi-millionaire overnight, what would you buy? I'd buy... Well, I have a new car, so I wouldn't worry about that. I don't need anything flashy. I just need something to get me from A to B, and my car does that. I would definitely buy a 3-bedroom unit with water views somewhere, probably around near where I live now. I don't know what I'd do for Beck. I'd probably buy another unit where she didn't, where she paid me rent. She wouldn't know I was the one that owned it. And I would save the money that she paid on rent, but I'd also give her, if I was a multi-millionaire, I'd probably also give her $1 million. I'd give Mum and Dad some money so that they didn't have to worry about money for the rest of their lives. I'd probably pay off my sister's house and give her some money. Same with my niece and nephew. I would probably do the same for them. What else would I do? Put some money away to travel, and then buy some more units so that I was getting the rental income, and probably invest the rest somewhere. I certainly wouldn't work anymore. I've always wanted a business from home, so I would probably put a lot of money into that to get it going for an income and something to do. I think if I had nothing to do, I'd go crazy. And try and protect myself against people who wanted to get to know me because of the money. I think I would hide it somewhat so that people didn't know I had it, except for family. And leave it at that. If you could change one thing about the world regardless of guilt or politics, what would you do? There's a few things I'd do, but the one... I'd love to get rid of hunger. I would like to get rid of people who live on the streets. I'd like to get rid of people killing each other. But what's the one thing? It's hard to choose. I really don't know. There's a lot of things I'd like to do. I'd like to get rid of mental illness. I'd like to help people with mental illness, the ones that can't really look after themselves, living on the streets or that sort of thing. I really couldn't say one in particular. Maybe hunger. Wow, that would be a hard decision to make if you really had to make it. There's so many things I'd like to do, but I don't know what the one thing would be. Let's just say hunger and say you'd like to do other things after that. Or hunger with provisions that you help others. I don't know. If you could eat lunch with one famous person, who would it be? Oh dear. One famous person. A lot of people are popping into my mind. Famous people as in celebrities, and famous people as in politicians. Wow. Maybe because I was a multi-millionaire, Father Chris O'Reilly. I've spoken of him before. He's actually a Catholic priest who runs a program called Youth Off the Streets. And I think I'd like to have lunch with him. Talk to him about things. Try and help him with some programs. Yeah, I think it's very sad. Young people that have nowhere to live or have no family, I think. I think if I could take them all in, I would, but I can't afford it. But I think kids always should have a place to go, a place to live. Somebody who loves them makes it. It'd make a terrible life if nobody loved you. Nobody took care of you. I think a lot of our crimes, like our crime statistics, I think would be lower, and things like that if you had somebody who loved you. With a lot of these kids, it's because they like their family are either alcoholics or drug users, and they're not more interested in, but they have to get their drugs, they have to get their alcohol, and any money they get, they have to spend it on drugs and alcohol. And I can understand that. It's a disease. It's not a once you're hooked, it's not a choice. It's not a decision. It's a disease. I know a friend of mine who I've known for quite some time is a high functioning alcoholic, I think you would call him. He works, but as soon as he finishes work, he starts drinking. Don't think he drinks at work, but I suppose I'd never know, because he's picked me up sometimes, and or one time in particular, and showed me this disposable coffee cup that you get when you buy, coffee from a coffee shop, and it was actually alcohol in the cup. It wasn't coffee. So I don't know, I don't know. It's just really sad. He's a really nice guy, and I love him a lot. And he wants to move in as flatmates when I move out of here from Beck. But I think I would be going down a slippery slope. I'm not a drinker at all. I don't know. I think it'd have to be under the proviso that he stopped drinking, certainly as much as he's drinking presently. He nearly lost his job over it. His work has made him go to AA. And he goes, I think, nearly every day, but it's all for show. I mean, sometimes he even takes a drink in his coffee cup with him. And I thought AA was Alcoholics Anonymous. His work can check up on him, make sure he goes. I don't understand that either. Yeah, I think I've really gone right off the track now. If you could give your younger self any advice, what would it be? Let somebody else pick your husbands. Listen to family. Listen to your friends. You'd probably still have more friends than you do now. Because I lost a lot of my friends because of my husbands. One of them, as I've said before, I've been married twice. One of them used to, when there was no mobile phones, we just had landline. He would just say that I was out, and he'd get me to ring them back, but I never got the message. But then a couple of friends stood by me, and they rang me at work. They knew my work number and said, this is what's happening, and if you're not ringing back because you're not getting the messages, let me know and I'll just ring you at work. So, because I wasn't allowed to answer the phone or anything. So, if I could go anywhere in the world on vacation, where would I go? Well, at the moment, I would go to the States and go to Hobby Lobby and Joann's and Michael's and Dollar Tree. We don't have those here. And the stuff you can get from those shops over there is so much cheaper than what we can get them here for. Like I was looking at Craft Mates the other day, and I think you buy them for $20 and, you know, $10 with a coupon and all this sort of thing. Where they're $60 here. So it's just too much. So you'd go over there with one empty suitcase and fill it up with stuff from Joann's and Michael's and places that we hear about all the time on videos, and bring it back here. Fill up an empty suitcase or more. If you're a multi-millionaire, like one of the questions back there said, you'd fly to Hawaii or to the States somewhere. You do your shopping, and it didn't matter how much you had if you cruised back to Australia. They don't weigh your luggage or anything like that, so you could bring back as much as you liked. So I think that'd be the way to do it. Or you can even have your own cruise ship if you're a multi-millionaire, I suppose. Your own boat to bring you back with a chef and a captain and all that sort of thing. And then the whole boat could be packed with craft stuff. That's probably the way to go. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live? Oh, gee. It'd have to be probably somewhere in Australia. I don't think I'd like to leave Australia for any length of time. Not sure where though. Maybe a little country town somewhere. There's a lot of little towns close to Sydney, so if you needed like medical care or something like that, you know, not too far out of Sydney, and you'd be there. Yeah, I think that would be the go. Either that or buy an island somewhere, but that'd be pretty lonely. Yeah, probably a little town outside of Sydney. So you're out of the city hustle and bustle, but you still got, you know, a bit of shopping that you can do. And also, going back to the other question, if you're a multi-millionaire, you could have a helicopter to take you to Sydney if you wanted to go shopping or whatever. Helicopter to take you down and bring you back, that'd be nice. If you could meet any one person from history or currently alive, who would it be? Oh, by the way, I love these arch trays. They are just the ounce parts of trays. Love it, love it. I already had one on there. Just have to shake them a couple of times and you've got a couple of hundred drills or the right way up, and then you just start picking up and dropping down. I love Ever Moment diamond paintings as well. I'd rather wait and save the money, the bit extra, and get an Ever Moment than Hurricane or something like that. I had so much trouble with Hurricane. I got so many kits of Hurricane. So I think I'll only be buying Ever Moments and Diamond Art Clubs from now on. There's a lot of the Diamond Art Club pictures that I don't like, though. I'm not into the lead light stuff. Invisible drill, as Fruitini says. Yeah, I'm not into the lead light stuff, and I'm not into the I can't remember the word for it, abstract paintings. I prefer to have ones like this, or there's a really nice rose that Diamond Art Club have. I wouldn't mind getting that. And pictures that are pictures, not abstract art. I'm not into. Each to their own. I know that a lot of people like the abstract art, but it's just not my cup of tea. So there's only a few from Diamond Art Club that I'd buy, but only because of that. They're I do have a few of them. I've got actually 2 left to do. I've done Naughty Alice, as I called it. I've got a couple of others to do in my queue. So where are we up to? If you could restore one broken relationship, which would it be? If I could fix, in quotes, that guy I was talking about earlier, we get along great. As I said, I'd never get married again, but we have fun, we laugh, and we cry laughing, and we're great mates. We like the same things. We have a lot in common. It's just his drinking is quite a big issue for me. I don't want my daughter around that sort of thing, and she's looking at having kids soon, so I wouldn't want my grandkids around that sort of thing. I'm sure we'd have a great time if he just stopped drinking, and I miss him a lot. Because I told him I couldn't see him anymore until he fixed himself up a little. His drinking has just got way out of control, and it does scare me. Like he's never hurt me. He's never got aggro with me. He's never, we've never fought. really, except over his drinking. As I said, we have a really good time, but I think half the problem is I was brought up with no alcohol in the house. It wasn't a religious thing or anything. It's just that neither of my parents drank, so, and their friends drank very little. It's not something that I was faced with, I suppose, growing up. So it's hard to know which way to go with it when you're faced with it as an adult and you've never seen it growing up. And I grew up in a fairly affluent family. There was nothing that we needed that we didn't have. There was things that we wanted that we didn't have, but you know, anything we needed we had, and more. Like, we used to go on holidays every year at Christmas and Easter time, and Dad had a boat, and Dad had always had a boat of some description. He used to race them, and then he was volunteer Coast Guard when he couldn't race anymore, and so there's, you know, we didn't want for much, and Christmas was incredible usually, with all the gifts we used to get. So it wasn't as if we were brought up without the money that they couldn't afford the alcohol, because they certainly could, but they just didn't drink. I don't think Dad's parents drank. I know Mum's parents didn't drink. But Pop used to have a beer every now and then. That's Dad's father. But other than that, there wasn't any drinking. So it's hard to... I don't know. It's... I don't think there'll be anybody else that I would have anything to do with except this bloke. He's been in my life for a long time, but it's just, you know, sort of on and off because of his drinking. He's 6'2", I think, and I'm a very tall 5-footer, so we look quite strange together. No, he's a great guy, but yeah, I think that's going to be I don't think things are going to happen there at all anymore, which is a shame, because I really do miss his company, and just somebody there to, you know, cry on their shoulder if you need it, and if you've got a family, you've got a partner, you know, things like that. It's somebody to just chat to, that you can tell anything to, you can be totally yourself with. You don't have to pretend to be somebody else. I think everybody needs somebody like that, and he was that for me. I actually met him, I think, a month or so after I left my second husband, and he's been there all that time, to, you know, just as friends to start with, very much. I wasn't ready for anything else for a long, long time. And then just one day it just happened. But, and apparently he wanted it to happen for a long time, but he could see that I wasn't ready and just let me settle down and get my head on straight and get stuff organised. So, he's a nice guy. But anyway, enough of that. If you don't have any, I don't know what that means. If you don't have any, have you ever thought of getting one? Don't know what that means. If you had a big win in the lottery, how long would you wait to tell people? Well, I suppose it depends on how much the big win was. Like if it was $1,000, you wouldn't bother. But to me, that would be a big win at the moment. If it was $1 million, I think I'd just tell family, because they would think it was strange that I'd buy myself a unit. At the moment, I don't know. I think after I settled down and worked out what I was going to do and that sort of thing, I would tell them. If you have a nickname, what is it? I had a childhood nickname within my family, and it was Buddha. Not because I was overweight, but because whenever we went anywhere on a trip or something, I used to sit in the car with my legs crossed and my arms crossed, and not say a word. So I got Buddha from that. Other than that, TJ, because of my name. Some people still call me TJ, but it's not very often. And just shortening my name and things like that, like Teza or Tez, which I don't really like, but people do it. It's the way of the world. If you could choose only one, would you rather go to Paris or London? I don't know. Probably London. Family history. I always wanted to go and work there as like a young adult. I was the only one in my family that couldn't. My father, after he left uni, Mum and Dad got married and they went to England for 3 years. My brother and sister were born there, so they could have gone and worked over there. But I was only conceived over there. I was born here, and my parents were born here, and my grandparents were born here, so I couldn't get a British passport, which meant I couldn't work over there. My brother and sister can, or could have, probably should have, because they were born there and their birth certificate and everything like that, so they could have. I was the only one that wanted to go and work there, and I was the only one who, out of the 3 children, and I was the only one who couldn't because of my birth status. Yeah, I'd like to go to London, which would hopefully lead me to Scotland and Ireland, again for family history. I've done all my family tree and that sort of thing, so I know where people have come from. My mother's brother now, because my grandfather passed away some time ago, but my mother's brother is actually direct descendant of the Earl of Kildare. So if we were still living over there, he would be the Earl of Kildare. Apparently there's a castle somewhere. I'm not 100% sure on where the castle is, Kildare Castle. That's pretty run down now because nobody does anything with it. Because Henry VIII actually chopped his head off for having an affair with Anne Boleyn. So there you go. And on the other side of my family, on my father's side of the family, he's actually in, his name is in the Tower of London because he was a naughty boy. And Robert Southwell was his name. And his name is somebody who was killed there. I'm just going to move you for a sec so I can take this paper off. I hope you can still see what I'm doing. Yes, you can. I might move you down a bit though. I'll just do a little bit more and call it a day. Okay. I think actually that might be it for tonight. I think I might go and get some dinner, and we might do another one tomorrow or later tonight. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening to my ramblings. Yeah, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye bye for now.